My dear children, today I want to share with you the most valuable lesson of my life. I am 74 years old. I spent 40 years of my life in the construction sector. I own brick and building materials factories. I am retired, and thank God I have no financial worries whatsoever. But let me say this with an open heart. I am not speaking to you as someone who sat comfortably in this chair easily, but as someone who once stood exactly at that sharp turning point. Because I too had to make those decisions, and I am here with you today because I was able to choose the right side. Now I am going to tell you the story of two brothers. They grew up in the same house. They came into this world from the same mother and father. They studied at the same schools. They chose similar professions, and throughout their lives they earned nearly equal salaries. But when they reached the age of 65, one of them retired with over $1,400,000 in savings, a house with not a single cent of debt remaining, and complete financial freedom. And he was truly happy. He spends winters in warm, sunny cities, helps with his grandchildren's university and travel expenses, and feels no need to glance at the price list when ordering at restaurants. The other brother retired with only $170,000, still has a mortgage with 12 years remaining, and works part-time at a hardware store because his retirement pension does not cover what he needs. When he goes to bed at night, there is only one calculation spinning in his head. Can I afford both my medication and my property tax this month? Same genes, same childhood, same earning power, same environment, but two completely different lives worlds apart. So where exactly did this gap open, my dear friends? Not in their 20s, not in their 30s either. It was shaped entirely by certain decisions made only in their 40s. Both brothers made decisions that seemed small at the time. Neither of them realized that the decisions they were making would determine the entirety of their remaining lives. But I am telling you this truth not as a sales pitch, but as a father, as a grandfather, as someone who has personally walked these roads. Your 40s are the most important decade of your life financially. Why? Because during that period, three great forces come together that will never align at the same time again in your life. First, your income is at its absolute peak. For most people, the highest earning years fall between the ages of 42 and 55. The exciting raises of your 30s may not come anymore, but the actual figure reaching your hands has never been this high before and will never be again. Second, the beauty of compound interest is still working at full power. Every dollar you invest at age 40, according to historical market returns, grows to approximately $4 by age 65. If you invest at age 50, this multiplier drops to 2.5. If you invest at age 55, it only doubles. Every passing year, this magic weakens further, my dear children. It weakens in an irreversible way. Third, your expenses finally begin to stabilize. The children have grown up, the house has been bought, the car has been purchased, the furniture is in its place, the work clothes are in the wardrobe. That period in your 30s when a new expense knocked on the door every month is now behind you. Now a savings margin forms in your hands that never existed before. The real question is this: does this margin flow toward savings, or does it get swallowed up by lifestyle expansion? When these three forces come together, they create an extraordinary leverage. The person who uses this leverage correctly builds real wealth. Woe to those who miss it, for they create a gap they can never mathematically compensate for. I grew my factory exactly during this period, my dear children. While my neighbors were buying new cars, I drove around with the same car for years. While my friends were buying bigger houses, I continued living in my modest home, and I directed every extra penny that came into my hands into both my business and my savings. Were those years easy? They were not easy. I felt the pressure of my surroundings. Sometimes it was hard. But today I look back on those days with pride. Let us speak in numbers now. Someone who has $100,000 in savings at age 40 saves 15% of their income regularly each year and invests with an average annual return of 8%, will reach approximately $1,350,000 by age 65. Together with Social Security, this is a truly comfortable retirement. But if the same person dedicates their 40s to life's pleasures and only begins saving in a panic at age 50, only $590,000 will remain at age 65. The difference is $760,000, and nothing in the world, no action, no move, no sacrifice can close this gap. The mathematical leverage of time cannot be compensated for by contributions made later. Now let me tell you the story of two families. Michael and Sarah reached age 40 with $180,000 in savings, a nice house worth $320,000 with $185,000 of mortgage remaining, and two children aged 12 and 9. Their combined income was $165,000, and a critical decade lay ahead of them. Michael had wanted a bigger house. A similar house in a nicer neighborhood was $580,000. Sarah was hesitant at first, but eventually was convinced. The housing upgrade increased their monthly expenses by $1,650. To compensate for this, they reduced their retirement contributions from 15% to 6%. They thought of it as a temporary measure. 2 years later, Michael's car broke down. Instead of repairing it, they decided to buy a more stylish car. The new SUV increased their monthly expenses by another $690. Then, Sarah's car was also replaced. The children's high school years brought private sports coaches, SAT preparation courses, and college visit expenses. When the first child started at an out-of-state university, Michael and Sarah took out a Parent Plus loan exceeding $100,000, instead of asking their daughter to choose a more affordable school. Throughout all of this, did they feel financially irresponsible? No, absolutely not. Each decision looked perfectly reasonable on its own. When they reached age 50, their retirement accounts held $230,000, only $65,000 more than 10 years before. They saved for 10 years, the markets grew, but the result was only this much. The children were now independent, and finally they were going to try to catch up. They maxed out their retirement contributions. At 65, they reached $685,000. It sounded like a nice figure until they looked at the retirement projections. By age 82, they would be completely broke. They would have to sell the house, drastically cut their expenses, or start working again in their 70s. Now let us look at James and Emily. At age 40, they had a life remarkably similar to Michael and Sarah. Income of $155,000, savings of $165,000, two children aged 11 and 8. James wanted a bigger house. Emily firmly said no. She had read about the mathematical impact of housing decisions on retirement outcomes. They decided to stay in their current home. At first it felt like a sacrifice, but the monthly difference of $1,670 was going directly into retirement accounts. When James's car needed replacing, they bought a 3-year-old, well-maintained certified pre-owned vehicle. When college approached, they had an honest conversation with their children about expenses. Both children attended state universities on merit scholarships. Throughout their 40s, James and Emily were as if swimming against unnecessary spending. Their lifestyle felt modest compared to those around them. When they reached their 50s, their retirement accounts held $600,000. This aggressive saving combined with market returns had more than tripled their balance in a decade. At 65, they reached $1,650,000. Their home was paid off, their retirement was complete. They could go wherever they wanted and live without worry about anything. The stark difference between these two families did not stem from different incomes or different investment knowledge. It came solely from different decisions made during their 40s. And here is what strikes me most. During those years, both families were equally satisfied with their lives. Research consistently shows that lifestyle inflation provides people with at most 18 to 24 months of temporary happiness. After that, you simply adapt to the new normal. Michael and Sarah did not enjoy their 40s, more than James and Emily. They simply spent more. That extra spending left behind not lasting happiness but anxiety, while permanently constraining the remaining years of their lives. So which decisions are most determining during this critical decade? Let us talk about them one by one. The first decision is the matter of housing. In your 40s, the urge to upgrade your home comes on very strongly. The children have grown, more space is needed, you have succeeded, and you want to reflect that. But know this. Moving from a $350,000 house to a $600,000 house means $1,500 to $2,000 more in monthly expenses. That amounts to $18,000 to $24,000 per year. If that difference had been invested from age 40 to 65, it would have grown into a fortune of between $900,000 and $1,300,000. So the decision to upgrade your home is not, as you might think, just a few $100s more per month, but is actually a $1 million retirement decision. I am not telling anyone never to buy a bigger home. I'm simply saying that most people make this decision without truly understanding its real cost. They think they are spending $1,700 more per month. In reality, they are spending over $1 million of their retirement wealth. The second decision is vehicles. In their 40s, people tend to move up to more expensive vehicles. The practical sedan transforms into a luxury car. The reliable SUV is replaced by a prestigious model. A family that pays $45,000 instead of $28,000 for two vehicles loses between $200,000 and $400,000 in retirement wealth over a decade, along with higher insurance premiums and maintenance costs. Depending on how frequently the vehicles are replaced, this figure can grow even further. The third decision is children's education. This is the most sensitive subject, my dear children. I loved my own children dearly, and I still do. But I want to state this clearly. Spending your retirement savings for your child's sake is not doing them a kindness, it is actually doing them a disservice. Because your child has decades ahead of them. They will grow, they will earn, they will be able to pay off their own debts. But your retirement decade will never come back. Families who successfully navigated this challenge generally had to make difficult decisions. They directed their children toward state universities offering scholarships. They expected their children to contribute by working part-time or taking student loans. They continued their retirement contributions without cutting them even under the pressure of tuition bills. The fourth decision is career risk tolerance. The 40s hold opportunities for career moves that can bring significant income increases. New companies recruit you for senior-level positions. Startups offer equity packages. Sectors where your skills command a premium open their doors to you. But most people, exactly during this period when taking strategic risks makes the most sense, become increasingly hesitant. They have built seniority and comfort at their current employers. Starting fresh somewhere new feels frightening. Yet the 40s are the last real window to accelerate income. After age 50, age discrimination in hiring begins to narrow opportunities significantly. A person who takes a strategic risk at age 43 will have time to recover even if things do not go as planned. The person who waits until age 53 does not have that luxury. The income difference between staying in the comfort zone and actively pursuing growth can exceed $30,000 to $40,000 per year. Over 10 years, this means $300,000 to $400,000 in additional earnings. The fifth decision is accepting lifestyle inflation. The 40s bring intense social pressure to display success. Colleagues go on luxury vacations, neighbors remodel their kitchens, friends buy boats and vacation homes. Some families resist this pressure and maintain the lifestyle they became comfortable with in their late 30s. Others convert every income increase into visible consumption in order to keep up with those around them. The retirement difference between these two approaches generally exceeds $1 million. I felt this pressure deeply in my own 40s, my dear friends. The neighbor remodeled their kitchen, a friend bought a boat, a work colleague moved into a large house. People do their best not to get swept up in this current, and I completely understand that feeling. But this is what I learned. That kitchen became ordinary within 18 months. That boat turned into a financial burden within 2 years. That large house became a chain around their necks. Meanwhile, every dollar I invested in expanding my factory, every penny I added to my savings, is still compounding and growing my wealth to this very day. Now, I want to give you specific guidance based on where you currently stand. If you are in your 20s or 30s, a genuine gift is being given to you today. The gift of foresight. You are now aware that your 40s will bring constant pressure to expand your lifestyle exactly when you are at the peak of your earnings. Starting right now, set up automatic retirement contributions that you will never reduce. Define what enough means to you before your income makes excess possible. If you are right at the threshold of your 40s, you are standing at the most important financial turning point of your entire life. The decisions you make over the next 10 years will determine whether you live a comfortable retirement or a stressful one. Review every major expense category right now. Does your home truly need to be this large? Are your vehicles a means of transportation or status symbols? Are you funding retirement before funding your lifestyle? Every yes given to lifestyle expansion is a no given to retirement security. If you are in your late 40s and recognize yourself in the wrong story, you still have time to change course. Every percentage point you add to your savings rate right now will improve your outcome. Consider the radical options that your lifestyle-inflated peers will not dare to consider. Downsize your housing now rather than waiting until retirement. Sell the expensive vehicles. Choose jobs that pay more, even if it requires significant change. If you have already left your 40s behind and your savings are insufficient, focus on the things still within your control. Delay starting your Social Security payments in order to maximize your benefits. Consider working longer than originally planned. Downsize your home to release the equity built up inside it. There is a psychological truth underlying all of these decisions, and it is important not to overlook it. The difficulty of being frugal in your 40s is deeply connected to the feeling that you have finally earned the right to enjoy your success. After working hard for 20 years, the urge to finally live well feels completely justified. When will the real gratification arrive? This is precisely the trap that catches most people. The gratification you seek through lifestyle expansion provides temporary pleasure, then turns into permanent constraint. The upgraded house excites you for 18 months, then becomes completely ordinary, while permanently reducing your retirement savings. The luxury car thrills you for a year, then becomes just another car while permanently limiting your future options. True gratification does not lie in consuming your peak earning years. It lies in converting those years into permanent freedom. The person who resists lifestyle inflation in their 40s experiences genuine gratification every single day of their comfortable retirement. The person who inflated their lifestyle experiences genuine stress every single day of their constrained retirement. The discomfort of frugality in your 40s lasts 10 years. The reward lasts 30 years or more. The pleasure of indulgence in your 40s lasts 2 to 3 years. The consequence lasts 30 years or more. I want to take you for just a brief moment to your 70-year-old self now, my dear friends. A quiet morning. You are sitting on a porch or in your living room. In one version of this future, you are thinking about which grandchild you will visit this month. You are planning a trip to somewhere you have always dreamed of seeing. You are completely at peace because unexpected expenses no longer threaten your stability. In the other version, you are calculating whether this month's Social Security check will cover your medications. You are wondering what you will do if your car breaks down. You are overwhelmed with anxiety about an uncertain future filled with limited options. Both versions of you made their 40s decisions decades ago. Both are now living with the consequences. Which version you become depends almost entirely on what you did between the ages of 40 and 50. Not on luck, not on income, but on decisions about housing, vehicles, education, career, and lifestyle. Decisions that compound and multiply just like money does with interest. My dear children, my wonderful friends, your 40s will eventually come to an end. That decade will pass whether you make conscious, intentional choices or simply drift along by default. The only question is this: which version of yourself will you have created by the end of that decade? This is not a burden. This is an opportunity and an awakening. And what you do with that opportunity is entirely in your own hands.